So why do we fear intimacy even though we want love? Let me guess. You say that you want love. You say that you want closeness, you want depth, you want intimacy, you want someone who truly sees you. But the moment that it gets real, you pull back, you freeze, you overthink, and you find a reason to run away. And so you start to see this pattern and you start to wonder what is wrong with me? Why am I doing this? Why am I sabotaging myself and my happiness? Well, the good news are you're not afraid of love. You are afraid of what love asks you to do. Love asking you to be seen, to be soft, to be chosen. Love asking you to risk. And if your nervous system has never done that before and it has never felt safe to do that, you will sabotage the very thing that you crave. Hi guys, I'm Andriana. Welcome back to my channel. In this video, I'm going to explain how sometimes we can be our own enemy when it comes to love, and how we can be the people that can sabotage it and can be coming in our way, stopping us from and holding us back from experiencing the very thing that we crave: connection, love, being close to someone. So this is coming from layers of beliefs, of identities, of deep-rooted traumas, of things that you have been focusing and you've been putting your attention on, all of these things that have not been serving you, and as a result created someone that is afraid of being close, that is afraid of intimacy, and sees love as a threat to who they are. They see love as something that is not for them. So in this video, I'm going to make you see all of the unconscious beliefs and all of the unconscious behaviors that you have adopted that are keeping love just out of reach for you, even though that's all you ever wanted. So if you're ready to stop pushing away the very thing that you want the most, then this video is for you. So let's get into it. You don't fear love. You fear being fully seen. Coming from my own personal experience, what you're scared of the most is not being close to someone, because this is the benefit, this is what you're actually craving, but not when it comes to the cost of being fully seen. When you start getting closer with someone, even though you might say you want closeness, when that happens, when somebody comes nearer to you, you flinch, not because you're cold or because you're broken, but because that the love that you so much crave requires you to be naked emotionally. It requires you to be fully open and fully transparent with yourself, with your stories, with your shames, with your soft side, with your hard side, with all of you. Basically, you need to be making yourself completely visible and completely transparent to love in order to get close to someone, right? But if you are in a state of mind where you're thinking that my real self and all of me, my shames, my stories, my soft side, my hard side, all of who I am is too much, or if you're thinking is not enough, or you're thinking is wrong, or if you're thinking that, my God, if somebody actually sees who I am, they will never be actually attracted to me, that mental state you have creates a negative perception of who you are, and therefore you see yourself being completely transparent and be emotionally naked with someone to be of a threat, because if somebody sees that, they will also react negatively to that. How can they accept that even if me myself I see that and I see that that is not attractive? So you internalize the belief that being fully seen means being rejected. So the unconscious belief here that is running your mind and is running your life is the belief that if they actually truly see me, they will leave. So the truth is that you don't fear love. You fear the exposure that comes with being close to someone that you love. And most of all, you are afraid of the abandonment that might follow if somebody that you expose yourself to doesn't end up loving you. So you are completely afraid of the potential of exposing yourself and showing yourself and getting rejected until you're able to bring up this unconscious belief, come to terms with it, and be like, okay, I believe that showing myself and exposing myself will end up to rejection, and therefore people will leave me and not love me. If you become aware of this belief, you're able to study it and to understand and question yourself and reflect on that. Is this actually true? Is this something that I have previous experience on, and therefore it gave me this bad taste, this like negative feeling and this negative belief about this? Is this actually based on reality and on experience, or is it just something I think? And if it's based on experience, we are able to go back into that experience and understand the real reasons why that happened, and not because of us opening up. And if you are not having any previous experience, then you reflect on that and you question that. The point here is for you to question this belief and to try to rewire it and to flip it, and to actually start going over the idea that actually maybe like being exposed doesn't have to be ending up in rejection. Gather an extraordinary amount of examples of people you have around you that have done that and they haven't been rejected. People that are just like you, not perfect. And the more you gather this evidence, the more you're able to understand that this is possible for you too. And just by questioning this unconscious belief, you are able to start breaking it down and rejecting it as real. You have mistaken protection for your personality. You know, we be giving ourselves the identity of being self-sufficient, being chill, being independent, but we don't understand what that identity is actually serving us, what is actually serving for us, what is the reason why we adopted that and why we hold it as a badge of honor. The reason of why we have adopted this identity is not because we were born and we were thinking, oh, we're independent, oh, I'm a chill person, oh, I'm self-sufficient. It's because there was a point in your life where you had to build this protective armor for yourself because you felt like being dependent, you felt like being reliant on someone wasn't safe. And therefore, you had to create this protective armor for yourself and to take care of yourself, to make yourself being safe. And therefore, because there's nobody else that you feel that could do that for you, nobody else that you could rely on, you only relied on yourself. So the possibility of somebody else coming in and wanting to make you feel safe, wanting to make you feel protected, to make you feel guarded, to make you feel seen, to make you feel understood, and to make you feel like, you know what, if something happens to you, I'm here for you. This immediately triggers you because it triggers that part of you that feels like I am only safe with myself. And therefore, you push that person away so you can only rely on yourself, because the possibility of even relying for them for just a bit to be there for you, and then they end up not being there, end up not staying in your life, end up not being able to rely on them anymore, and having to put yourself through this situation is so threatening that you don't want to put yourself even in the possibility and into the potentiality of feeling safe with anyone else but yourself. Somewhere along the way, you felt and you realized that needing no one was safer than needing the wrong person, than needing the wrong one. So right now, you're so protective with yourself, and you are not willing at all to rely on someone because they could end up being someone that are not there for you to rely anymore. So you turned this self-protection into your identity. You call yourself independent, you call yourself self-sufficient because you are afraid to be anything other than that. But now the problem with that is that love is trying to reach you, but it can't, because it's trying to reach you, but you have built a huge fortress that you have built in the first place in order to survive what hurt you initially. But now you are keeping love out, you're keeping love away and unable to come in and touch you and hold you, because you have this protection, you have this fortress that is in between you. And as long as this fortress is in between you, love could never come fully in, because you will always be pushing it out. How can you have love in your life when you don't find love, when you don't find closeness, when you don't find protection and being able to rely on somebody else than just yourself? If you don't think these things are safe, if you internalize this belief and you've convinced your nervous system to believe that you are not safe with anyone but me, then your nervous system will see any attempt of someone to get closer to you, to love you, to protect you, to have good intentions with you. Your nervous system will see that as a threat, and therefore it will go immediately and start self-sabotaging. Your old pattern has taught you, you know what, I'm good on my own. But the new pattern that you need to internalize and you need to adopt in order to allow love into your life for good, and in order to feel safe and protected around love, is the belief that yes, independence can be powerful, but interdependence is where real intimacy thrives and where intimacy begins. And listen, from my personal experience, I wasn't able at the beginning to rely on anyone and trust anyone with myself. So what I did was to, yes, slowly give them the chance to prove to me that they deserve me to put my walls down for. So what I did was firstly get into the mindset that, you know what, I am going to open myself up, because I am not the same vulnerable person that used to be behind those walls, that used to be behind that fortress. I know back then I was more sensitive and I was more influenced by what was happening to me, and therefore like these things could hurt me more. But now I trust myself to be able to handle any situation, and even if that situation doesn't go the way I want it to, I trust that that lesson is going to give me so much value and so much insight that it will be for my highest good. So first of all, I trusted myself behind the walls to be able to take the heat in case I open my walls for somebody and things end up not working out for us. I was willing to take that risk because I realized that a life where you are half opening yourself, it's a half life. It's not a life that is worth living when you're not able to allow love into your life, because love is something that we crave so much, and that is for a reason. It's because it's something that brings us so much. Well, in return, you have to be able to put yourself out there and to trust that no matter what happens to me, first of all, I trust myself to be able to handle this. And second of all, I trust my judgment to allow this person. And third of all, I am going to slowly build this trust and rapport with this person. So now my wall is not going to be protected, but I'm going to make sure I slowly let in somebody that is as safe as that fortress that I've built. And this is something that you build. And that's why it's so important to not just crash out on people and just believe them to be immediately someone that is going to come and save you. It's building the rapport, it's building the trust. Trust and the ability to allow someone into your life is something so sacred, and not everyone should have access to you. And I understand that you think that people that just so easily and effortlessly allow people to just come in, and they have zero fortresses, they have zero walls, they just allow anyone to come in and touch their heart, and you find that something that you think it's so completely unsafe. And this is not what I'm asking you to do. What I'm asking you to do is to trust yourself, first of all, and second of all, to let that person prove to you that they are worthy of your trust, that they are worthy of you opening up your fortress and taking down your walls slowly and slowly. But it's so important to trust yourself and to also be able to build trust with that person too, because trust me, there are going to be a lot of situations where people are going to hurt you, but it's about being able to communicate with them, okay, this is something that hurt me, and seeing that person's response to that, to the fact that you are hurt, and how they change their behavior and how they adapt so they don't behave in a way that hurts you and creates pain for you anymore. This is an example of what will be a building block of trust that you develop with that person. Right now, your body doesn't feel safe with the kind of love that you consciously desire. Maybe consciously, your mind is thinking, this is what I want. But unconsciously, your body feels completely unaligned and completely unsafe with that idea of what your conscious mind desires. You may be saying that, oh, I really want this deep connection with someone, but your nervous system is still wired for chaos, is still wired for unpredictability, is still wired for distance. And why is that? It's because that's what love used to feel like. So that became your emotional normal. That became your energetic set point of what your nervous system feels safe and normal and familiar around. And now when a love shows up that is calm, that is safe, that is secure, that is consistent, this whole concept feels foreign to you and even sometimes boring. That doesn't mean that it's wrong. It just means that it's something that your nervous system and your body doesn't feel home to, doesn't feel normal around. It doesn't recognize it as safe. It doesn't recognize it as love. Because these feelings don't signal love to you. It's the unsafety, it's the inconsistency, it's the unreliability that signals the feelings of love for you. So this allows you to understand that you are not actually sabotaging love, but you are responding to what your body was conditioned to trust. And in order to heal that, you need to understand that safety has to be learned, and is learned through slow, secure and safe experiences. And that's what it connects to what I was telling to you before, slowly trusting others by allowing them to show how safe and secure they can make you feel. The child in you still fears connection more than she craves connection. So when love was conditional or inconsistent when you were growing up, this taught you that vulnerability was dangerous, that speaking your needs will get you rejected, it will get you ignored, it will get you punished, it will get you abandoned. So now, as an adult, you may be craving intimacy, but the moment somebody gets close and the moment that you need to get vulnerable, your inner child panics. And that's because love now feels like a high stakes risk. It's like you're handing someone a knife and you really hope they don't use it, but you know that they have the power to hurt you. You know they have the power to use that knife against you and harm you. You are basically in their mercy and in their hands in order to not get hurt. That's how it feels. So your mental pattern here is to, okay, I need to push them away before they leave, before they hurt me, before I get vulnerable and I get rejected all over again. In order to heal that, you need to meet the scared inner child that is within you. Not with shame, but with compassion. She's not ruining your life. You need to see that she's there to protect you from what she has experienced before. And I have a whole video on inner child healing in case you want to know how to do that more specifically. That goes more in detail on how to heal that inner child and how to create this bond with your inner child, that you make your inner child feel safe again with you and make your inner child feel safe again with love. You equate love with loss. If every time you let someone in, you let someone close to you, and it ended up in disappointment, it ended up in abandonment, it ended up not working the way that you expected and ended up in a way that it was painful for you, it's only natural that you now associate love with pain. So now your subconscious believes that, you know what, love equals to the thing that it hurts me the most. So even though you want it, but you also brace yourself against it and you try to hold yourself back. You may be seeking it, but at the same time, you will subtly sabotage it. Because even though what you crave the most is feeling this closeness with someone, your system is still trying to avoid relieving the past heartbreak, relieving the past pain. And now your brain is stuck in that loop of, okay, love me, but not too much. Be close, but not close enough. In order for you to heal this, you need to understand, first of all, that you're not resisting intimacy. You are resisting the grief that is linked to it. So if you address and you accept that grief that is related to that intimacy, if you're able to see, okay, these were my past experiences, but they do not have to be my future experiences, then you're able to separate heartbreak from love, and you're able to see those past experiences as they are. For their own reasons and for their own purposes, for teaching you the lessons that you needed to learn, and to understand that love doesn't mean heartbreak, to understand that just because I have internalized this belief, it doesn't mean that it is the truth. It doesn't mean that this is what happens to everyone. Show yourself examples of where this love and this closeness doesn't equal to pain. You fear being loved because it threatens the identity you have built around the idea that you are not loved. And this is a deep one and a very hard one to digest and to face. If your core identity has been wrapped around the idea of being unworthy, of being unloved, of being too broken, of being never chosen, being loved and being chosen isn't just simply unfamiliar to you, but it is threatening to your identity. It simply is so threatening to the identity that you have adopted that is threatening its own existence. And you know, different identities that we have, there are their own energetic creatures. They have their own power, and therefore that identity is going to try to keep itself alive as much as possible, is going to fight back as much as possible in order to keep proving to you, listen, here you're unlovable, here you're not worthy, here you're not chosen. So that identity that you have can still stay alive, because if you prove to yourself otherwise, then that identity doesn't have any base anymore to exist. So that identity that you have of being unloved is fighting back, because receiving real love will mean that you were wrong about yourself. It will mean that the story that you have built your whole life around was a complete lie. It will mean that you have to let go of the emotional home that you have known all your life. Proving yourself wrong, even though you have built so many stories, so many beliefs, so many attributes around this identity, you made this a living entity. It's so hard for you to say that you have been wrong for so long. You have been misinterpreting this the whole time. We hate being wrong as humans. We hate having to lose something, because even though we might want something else so much, what we don't like doing is losing. Losing what feels comfortable is so threatening to us. It's just so threatening leaving behind what felt comfortable and what we felt that it has served us for so long. But this is just an illusion. This is just a trap for that old entity to still exist, because trust me, you won't ever understand the amount of contentment and love that is possible for you once you finally embrace the identity that is truly yours, the identity of being loved. That is what you innately are. Leaving this identity behind is only going to lead you to expansion. And yeah, I understand it won't be easy, it won't be effortless, it will have to be some fighting back and forth, but trust me, you're going to reach a point, no matter how down bad you think you are, I am telling you, you're going to reach a point where you're not going to be able to understand how you thought else, how you thought differently, how you thought so low of yourself before. So many people, they will rather to protect the familiar identity rather than entertain the uncertain unknown of being loved. Now that you have the understanding and the awareness of what has been happening, how can you go back and live in the familiar that is constraining you rather than giving yourself the chance of expansion and of love? Your brain will try to sabotage you and is going to try to reject whatever contradicts your familiar identity. The breakthrough is coming from understanding that in order to receive love, you need to allow your identity to evolve. You can't have the identity of someone who doesn't believe that he's lovable, that he's worthy, that deserves the love that he wants, that deserves the vulnerability, that deserves the closeness, and still end up getting the result that comes from having a healthy, self-respectful identity. You only will get the output of what you input. So if your input is negative, your output is going to be negative. If your input is positive, your output is going to be positive as well. You can never outrun your beliefs. You can never outrun your identity. And so it's so important to start and go back a step. If you want love, stop for a second. Stop looking out for people that are just going to meet you and just cross your fingers and hope that your old issues of sabotaging love won't come up. You know that they will. You know that you're going to have to face them. So catch yourself a step, go back, start facing yourself, start working, doing the inner work that is going to change your inputs, therefore is going to change your outputs. You know that you're wasting your time going out looking for healthy love when you yourself, you're not able to attract that, because this is not what you are radiating. This is not what you even are. You're not in a state of being a healthy love. You're going to end up in a relationship with someone that you're going to hurt by pushing them away. You fear being chosen because then you have something to lose. When love is real, it matters. And when it matters, it can break you. It has importance, therefore it has importance and weight to touch you and to influence you. So you end up avoiding deep attachment, and not because you do not want it, but because you can't bear to lose it once it feels like it's yours. So you settle and you stay in almost love, in casual love, 1 foot in love. Because if you never fully let it in, you don't have to fully grieve it when it's gone. You don't have to be fully impacted and fully damaged and fully hurt when it does leave. You take it for granted that love leaves, love hurts, love rejects, love abandons. Then, of course, if you believe that, you're always going to be 1 foot in when it comes to love, because you're ready to run the other way, because you're so certain that love will hurt you. So you're able to understand now that you don't actually fear intimacy, you fear the grief that might follow it. And healing this will require you to understand that learning to hold grief is the price of love. Because the absence of a loss is not safety, it's emptiness. If you have nothing to lose, then you have nothing. You're scared of having everything. So you settle with having nothing because then you feel more settled and more safe with the idea that, okay, if I have nothing to lose, then it won't hurt as much. But you don't understand the fullness that comes from allowing love in your life, because then you can have everything that you ever wanted. And you have to understand that it is possible for you to have the love, to have the safety, but the only person that is holding you from doing that and from having that is yourself. You don't fear love, you fear who you need to become in order to receive it. You understand on a deeper level that in order to receive intimacy, you have to be honest, you have to be soft, you have to be fully seen, you have to be open, you have to be you, completely and authentically you, and not the curated version, not the perfectly curated person that you're trying to come across as, not the high functioning, well spoken, and always having it together person that you're trying to show, and you think that this is the one, this is the person that people want to love. And if you have built your identity around control, around emotional distance, and around perfection, you will be so terrified and so afraid when love asks you to surrender, when love asks you to let go of control and to stop holding everything together. You'll be so terrified that the moment that you're going to let go and surrender, everything is going to fall apart. You understand on some level that, you know what, love doesn't ask for my CV, it doesn't ask for my accomplishments and my successes, it asks for my authentic raw self. And for you, this is even more challenging and even more threatening than having to prove yourself with your accomplishments and your successes. Your conscious fear here is that if I do let go of, who will I become? If I do let go of control, if I do surrender, who am I going to become? Because I'm so used to being this person that is in control, that is perfect, that is perceived this way. If I let go and surrender and just show who I completely am, then who am I going to be? Who am I going to become? Am I going to be the old me, the new me, the in-between? Who am I going to be? Understanding this really healed me when I was going through this and when I was like fighting with myself. And I've reached a point that completely changed my mindset. And that was understanding that love doesn't destroy who you are. It simply destroys who you aren't. It burns away and completely erases the part of you that you aren't. And it brings to the surface the qualities that are yours, the qualities that belong to you and that you have been so afraid to see and to embody. That is what love actually does to you. It doesn't make you less perfect. It doesn't destroy you. It doesn't take away everything that you are. It takes away everything that you are not. And thinking that you're perfect and thinking that you're always so polished, it's not real. This is not what is real about you. What is real are the imperfect parts of you that make you who you authentically are. And love wants and is interested to see only that. So now you understand that you simply have feared intimacy for so long because that part of you that needed to survive hasn't yet felt safe enough and hasn't yet felt secure to soften and to open up and to trust that receiving love and allowing love in will be safe for me and it won't hurt me. But now you're able to understand that softening doesn't mean that you're losing your power. It means that you're returning back to your essence. It means that it's one of your qualities that you have disregarded for so long, but it's actually one of the qualities that will give you so much power, that will empower you, and that will allow you to move forward and expand so much more than being closed off and being hard. I want you to be able to see this part of yourself with forgiveness and compassion, not seeing yourself as broken for resisting love, but simply as a human that needed to learn how to survive without it. But you did that for too long, and now you think this is the normal. And it's time for you to return to your new normal. It's time for you to return to love and to understand that love is safe, that the real love is safe, real love is secure, and real love is expansive and is not restricting you. It's not going to hurt you, but it's going to allow you to thrive. So that's it for today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. And I hope this video served as your reminder that the love that you deeply crave inside of you is available and it's possible for you. And that type of love will never hurt you. But you have to be able to first and foremost trust yourself and trust in your ability to attract this healthy, safe love. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye.